Hi, I'm Di from Sister Chicks Quilting, and welcome to my channel today. I have a problem, and it's one that keeps multiplying. It's this. These are scraps left over from projects that I haven't had time to process yet. I'm trying to come up with a solution to keep my sewing room a little more organized. Recently I was sick, and Coral Block paid me a visit, and this is what she brought me. This darling basket. It was full of sunshine, the cutest card, everything yellow because I needed some sunshine. Anyway, what a sweet little gift. And as you can see, this is very similar to this, my fat quarter basket that sits on my shelf that holds yellow fat quarters. Wait a minute, that's my solution. I've been looking right at it, right across my sewing room at all of my fat quarter baskets. That is the solution to my scraps. Multiplying and not having a place to land until I have time to process them. What I am going to do today is teach you how to make this fat quarter basket, and we're going to call it a scrap basket because that's what it's going to be. And I'm changing up the size. I figured it out. I think it's going to work. Let's get started. Now these are the instructions, and you can find them on my website under fabric storage baskets. And I've done a little bit of figuring on them. I've decided that I'm going to make my basket, instead of the 10 by 16.5 for my fat quarter size, I'm going to make it 17 inches square. And the first thing you do is you make a sandwich. Now the sandwich is made of 3 things. In the middle is the Bosal two-sided stick foam. On the inside is 100% cotton batting. I am using this fabric, the same fabric as my baskets. And here is one quilt sandwich ready to go. The next thing you do is you want to mark a 3-inch square in the corner. So I'm using this little 3-inch square. Here's a little tip. When I make my quilt sandwich, I always iron the fabric onto the Bosal foam first because it sticks much easier. Let me show you how I came up with a 17 by 17. So this basket, from the top to the center seam, is 9 inches. Can you see that right there? And the piece that you cut was 10 inches wide. So there's about an inch up in the seam allowances. And then on this side, the side will start here is, and I just wrapped a tape measure around to, ends at 15.5 inches. Well, I wanted a square basket, not an oblong basket. So I kind of experimented, and mine may be a little too tall because I've cut mine 17 inches. So that's going to be 16 inches finished. Ooh, that's a little too tall on this wrap, but you know what? I can always cut it down, right? And I didn't want to do a solid band, color band. I have this Tula Pink, I think this is from her Parisville collection, that I've made a strip to go around the basket. Can't wait to sew this. It's going to be so cute. My scraps will love it so much. I bet they don't want to get cut up and put in their 2.5-inch strip boxes or their 5-inch square boxes. We'll see. We'll see what the scraps say about their new home. I know I cut my corners out at 3 inches, but I changed them to 3.5 inches because I don't want my bottom to be this wide. I gave myself an extra 1/2 inch on both sides, so hopefully my bottom's going to be 4 inches across, which will give me a bigger basket for my scraps. Yay, yippee yay. The Bosal has a hard time sticking to the batting. I'm just going with it. I'll do a lot of pinning. Am I going to quilt it down? No, I'm not going to, but you could quilt it down. So I'm going to pin it together in a couple of places, take it to my machine and sew it, and then I'm going to adjust my corner to match. I'm sewing this side seam on a 5/8 inch seam. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with Rita, my Juki here, because she's performing like the boss. The next thing you're going to do is iron these seams open. And you know me and ironing, I'm going to hit it with my seam roller. I figured out what I had done. I cut the 1/2 inch off the same side. Oopsie. So I just took these 1/2 inch things off, whacked a 1/2 inch off the bottom, and as you can see, I line up. Now that they're sewn together, the next thing you want to do is put your color strip on. The pattern has you do it 2 inches from the top, and that way it comes out 1.5 inches from the top. I am going to change my strip so instead of 2 inches, it's 3 inches down. And this is how you mark it and sew it. I'm just going to draw a line like so on my basket with my heat erasing pen, and I'll connect it and use that as a guide to put my strip on. I love these baskets. I think part of the charm of them is the fabric you choose. I chose Tula Pink for my accent piece. Then I'll just connect these. I have a directional print. I definitely want to put the clamshells facing up, not the other way. And I am just going to start sewing these, laying them right next to that line, right on the edge. The next step, I'm going to cut the extra strip off. And by the way, this is pretty easy to make. You cut your color strip 3 inches wide, and then you cut Shape Flex 101 2 inches wide, iron it on, and fold the ends in and press the heck out of it, and you get this beautiful color strip. The next part is sewing the bag together on the other side. And again, we will sew at a 5/8 inch seam. So I'm going to put this together, pin it, take it to my machine, and sew it up. When you pin this together, you need to make sure your fabric strip matches. If the box is off, that's okay, but you don't want the fabric strip off because it won't match. So worry about matching it at the strip, and then I'm going to sew at 5/8 of an inch seam all the way down to here. I just have to say, this isn't a bag, it's a box, but it's similar to a bag. My first time sewing on my Juki TL 2010. Oh my gosh, it goes so well. I'm going to open up this side seam as well and really smash it down. Press it good. The next thing you do when the bottom is sewn and the sides are sewn is to find your corners and match your corners. And I'm going to open them up like this, go seam to seam so it's a nice looking corner. And I'm going to use some Wonder clips. then want to iron your seams open. But first, I'm so excited. Let's turn it and see what size of a bag I made, because I changed the dimensions. I don't even know how it's going to actually look. Sticking my fingers down in the corners, I'm going to make sure that they're pushed out good. Okay. This is kind of a tall scrap bag. My bag is going to be 9.5 inches tall, but it's going to hold a lot of scraps. And you don't have to iron them, I can just chuck them in. My corners are sewn, and I'm really pushing them out. And take a look at how big my bag is. It's a deep one, isn't it? Well, I guess it will hold a lot of scraps. I think I'm going to cut some off the top, though, so it only is that tall. Let's see how big my bottom actually turned out to be. 9.5 inches by 7 inches. I should have figured out a way to make the bottom a little bigger, but I'm okay with it. For some reason, I was thinking the bottom was going to be square all the way around. I don't do quilt math. I'm going to make an adjustment on the lining. For my fat quarters, have a lining that's just a little big on the inside, because it has you do the side seams 1/2 inch, and on the bag you do them at 5/8 of an inch. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to make my linings at 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to leave a hole in the middle to turn the bags. I have the lining sewn together so it's like a bag, but the corners aren't done yet. The next thing is the corners will get done. You take your lining and you put it on the outside of your bag, like so. Shove the bag down in there. And you work on getting it nice and fit in there. Clip it with Wonder Clips to hold it in place. Let's turn the basket through this hole. I think if you want a nice project, pay attention to the details. Here's some details that I like to pay attention to. I'm going to iron this seam right here, and then I am going to stitch it down. And I'm also going to stick my hand in, press out these really well, and iron the heck out of those seams. I top stitched the lining down inside the bag so it would stay. And the next thing I'm going to do is sew up the turning hole. Look at that. I thought it would be fun to introduce my new scrap basket to my fat quarter baskets. I think it's fun that they're the same fabric but with a different band around them. And let's see. I've got these and these. I could never throw out a scrap that's this size. And this is left over from making my basket. So in it goes until I can process it and put it in its forever scrap pile. Until I get that done with these pieces, this is going to sit on my sewing table I'll have a place to put my scraps, which is going to keep my sewing room much more clean and organized. If you like this video, check out the video that's going to play right after this one. It's going to be this video, so you could make these fat quarter baskets. Until then, thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate everyone out there in YouTube land. I love all the thumbs up and the comments I get. And next week, I'll have another fun project. Bye.